Technology is continuously shaping world with new products and services. Gradual innovations, inventions, discoveries, and diffusion in almost all sectors have revealed new horizons. International Technology Business Conference 2023 is bringing global experts from business and academia to share knowledge on smart cities, artificial intelligence, fintech, infrastructure development, healthcare, automation, energy, green environment, international regulations, and ITC. Join us. Let me invite Dr. Deena Hassan to speak about youth's emotional health in digital technology world. She is an associate professor and the academia advisor for the Dean of Faculty at Abdan Academy. She also served as Associate Dean of Student Affairs for the College of Health Sciences at Abu Dhabi University. As a postdoctoral fellow at the Cleveland Clinic, Ohio, USA, her research focused on chronic inflammation and heart disease. Currently, her research interest focuses on public health, and she has become an advocate for well-being and health promotion in the UAE.
And it's my pleasure to be with you this morning. Again, this is a wonderful introduction, and I'm very humbled and happy by this introduction. And yes, of course, anybody that I could provide support for, whether a woman or man, young or old, I think that's part of my job as an educator. I need to give back to the community within the UAE, but also globally. So I'm very happy to be connecting with colleagues overseas and sharing some of, obviously, my insights on emotional health and, the positive impact it has on us as human beings. So I've prepared a few slides so, people can kind of follow up with me while I'm talking.
I can see.
Okay, wonderful. So let me do this. Actually, maybe I'll just do this. All right. And I kind of also put together the questions, if that's okay. Put the questions that were had and then kind of address them in the slides. All right. So again, in this conference, we're talking about the digital world, the advancement that's happening technologically and digitally. One of my kind of personal interests is also what's happening to youth emotional health with this advancement in the digital world. I'm very keen on mental health and emotional health, especially with young people, especially that I'm a mother myself of 2 boys and an educator of a lot of young adults. So I've seen the drastic change that affected, the emotional health of young people, especially in the past few years with the digital world, and of course with the pandemic that we've just passed. So a lot of people ask me a question like, for example, why is it important to focus on youth emotional health in the digital world? So of course, when we talk about young people, we have to know that it's very crucial to focus on their emotional health, especially these days. They live in a world that is very different than their parents and grandparents. I know there's always that, when we look at our own parents, there is that generational difference. But right now, it's extreme. The way we were brought up, us and our parents and grandparents, very different than our kids and our students. The generational difference is huge because of the digital world. So we have to keep that in mind. And of course, with all of this happening, their emotional health has been affected and a lot of emotional challenges have been introduced. But, I kind of want to focus on 4 emotional challenges that I've clearly seen among young people with the advancements in the digital world. One of them, and I think everybody knows about this, and it's a very common issue worldwide, is cyberbullying. Bullying is happening worldwide to young people, to kids, but now we also have the cyberbullying. It's much easier to get cyberbullied. It can happen on a daily basis. You don't have to get out of your room to be bullied. You can be in your own room, in your own bedroom, logging into your device and actually getting bullied on a daily basis, in an hourly basis. And there are 2 issues. Some young people and kids don't know they're getting bullied. And the other bigger issue is they don't know how to handle it. Because physical bullying face to face usually is very clear, very obvious. There are witnesses, but this is more in a bubble. So unfortunately, social media and other online platforms can actually be breeding grounds for cyberbullying, which can have serious emotional consequences on young people. It is very important for us as adults, as caregivers, as parents, to help young people develop the emotional resilience and coping skills to deal with cyberbullying. First of all, we need to teach them what it is. How do you know when you're getting bullied? Because some people say, "Oh, they didn't mean it," or "This is not bullying." No, when you're, getting negative comments on any post, when you are getting targeted, when you are, constantly getting compared to other people, this is bullying. This is cyberbullying. So they need to identify when they're getting bullied. And number two, know how to deal with it. So we need to develop that emotional resilience. So that for me is the first and kind of really a significant emotional challenge that has developed during the digital world and affecting young emotional health. The other issue is the next one, addiction. And I think not just young people, adults, young people, kids, everybody now is, we used to talk about substance abuse addiction. That was the major issue. Now it's more addiction to screen time and social media. So people are even getting admitted now to rehab centers because of these issues. It's much easier to get addicted on screens and social media technology than substances, right? So, this constant access to the digital device and social media can lead to addiction or obviously negative outcomes, such as research has shown that when our young kids and young people and students are addicted to social media and technology, academic performance has dropped. This is solid research now. And of course, social isolation, which obviously reflect on their behavior, and it decreases their emotional health. Because remember, being able to interact with humans, being able to have relationship increases your emotional health. Once people are becoming more and more isolated, which we've seen even during the pandemic and the lockdowns, social isolation increases, emotional health decreases. So again, what do we need to do as adults, as educators? Focus on emotional health that can help young people develop self-awareness and also self-control. We can't avoid technology. We know that. As a mother, as an educator, all of our homework, all of our work, all of the assignments is online. They have to. Even in schools now, even in universities, they're on the screen all day long. I can't tell my son, "Oh, you can't do your homework today." This is not right. He has to do homework. He has to use the screen. He has to use the device. So it's a must now to cope with the world, to be able to, manage your work. You need technology, but also we need that balance. When do we stop? When do we take breaks? Any opportunity to get off that screen, we should take advantage of that. Any opportunity throughout the day. So again, it is addiction. It's true addiction. People can't stop and they want to stop. Even us. You see us sometimes. We're sitting with our kids, we're sitting with families, everybody's on that phone. Our life has become in this digital world. Our friends are there, our career is there. So we need to make sure we don't lose that human touch. Yeah, we use the technology, but there has to be self-control. That's the second emotional challenge. But then the third one is relationship building, true relationship building between humans, between kids, between family members, between couples. Developing healthy relationship is essential for our emotional health. It's the number one key where people are happy and connected and feel satisfied. It's the healthy relationships. However, we've seen that the digital world have hindered this process. It became very clear. I'm sure you yourself, Dr. Malik, and everybody has seen it, especially during the lockdown and the pandemic. When our life has become that device, people stop connecting, people stop talking to each other. All of it is online. We're not seeing people. So we need to teach young people how to build and maintain healthy relationship. Both, obviously, they're still connecting with people online, but offline. I tell my boys now, they're young, they're teenagers. "Oh, let's have your friends over." And the first thing they say, "Oh, we can connect online and play a game together, Mom. We don't need play dates. We can just go and play together, Minecraft." I said, "No, I don't want you online. I want the boys to come over our place or you go, but we're still going to play the same game." I'm like, "It doesn't matter. When you're in the same room, even playing a video game, but you're connected physically, you're looking at each other. There's that eye contact, there's the body language, there's feelings. This is an important human feature that we need for our emotional health and our mental health. You need to be around people. We can't, again, this is not relationship. So what I do, I insist every weekend that their friends come over. They go out to the playground. They play board games. I can't stop the video games. I can't. I'll lie if I'll tell you there's no screen time. I give them that screen time, play together, but at least they're together, talking, snacking, hitting each other. But then, all right, now let's stop, guys. Go out to the park. Let's do some board games. Let's have lunch together. So these are the things we need to work on with young people, and with especially young age, because then it becomes more natural. The more they drift away from us, the harder to bring them back, because they're going to be embedded. Remember, addiction. So we need to help them feel more connected and fulfilled, and that's something I personally worked on even during the pandemic. I would spend 2 hours at night. We sit together, no screen, nothing. We're going to play board games. We're going to talk. We're going to play bingo, just to get them used to the human. Again, we can't lose that connection because we get into other issues. And obviously, if we develop all of this stuff, if you avoid cyberbullying or control it, addiction, and relationship building, we work on our mental health, which obviously has become a very, very serious problem lately. Research has shown worldwide mental health problems, issues with young people have significantly increased around the world, everywhere. So there's growing body of research showing excessive screen time and social media use can contribute. It's a fact. It's causing mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. The number of students that spoke to me in the past 3 years about, their mental health issues, I've never seen that in my career because of the excessive social media access. Pandemic didn't help. Students were calling me online, not for academic advice, for mental health advice. They're seeing this perfect world on social media, especially young females, right? Everybody posting their lovely pictures, how they're in a happy, in a great relationship, happy marriage, getting gifts, but they're not seeing the behind the scenes, the disasters that's happening. They're seeing a perfect world, and then they say, "What about me?" So what I've spoke to my students about, detox yourself from this, take breaks, and a lot of them did. They stopped Instagram, Twitter, and all of that, and they felt much better because they felt the reality, not that social media, world. So by focusing on emotional health, we can definitely help young people build the skills and resources they need to maintain mental health, because this is all related to their mental. The more resilient they are, the more they're able to cope with their emotions, the better their mental health. It's a simple kind of equation. So these are the 4, for me, major emotional challenges that were significant with the advance of the digital world, and some of the obvious tips of what we can do about it. But then I get another question, and I think it's a very important question. What can be the role of parents and teachers in developing healthy emotional stability in youth? I mean, I'm a parent, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. We're everything in this equation. We play a major, in fact, it's all about what we do with young people and our own kids. There's so much to cover in this. We play a very crucial role. But in a nutshell, if I want to summarize, there are 4 things that we could do to improve emotional health stability in young people. First of all, and I speak on my own personal experience as a mother educator, we need to start creating a safe and supportive environment. We need to start listening to young people and our kids. Empathy, connect with them. When they're telling you something, it might sound very trivial or silly, but it might be a beginning of a serious mental health issue. Listen to young people when they're telling you they don't feel well, they feel down, they don't have energy, they don't want to go out. These are serious signs of, could be depression, anxiety. Some of it can end up in suicidal thought. So empathy, connecting, and active listening, not just nodding our head. No, you listen to every word that they say. They're trying to tell you something, and sometimes we're not listening. Unfortunately, that's why we end up with huge mental health issues, and sometimes we lose people because of that. So active listening, empathy, and feedback. Give them that feedback, and that environment is safe. I do that with my own boys. We sit, just tell me, how was your day? And I'm not happy with good. They're boys. I get more out of them. What do you mean? How was it? How was, your friends? What did you guys do? How were the teachers today? Did you make any new friends when they go to anywhere? So these are the things we need to create. They need to talk about their feeling, and I make it feel safe. It's just me and them. So creating a safe and support environment is extremely important for young people, even as educators. My students tell me all the time when they come to my office, and I love this statement: we feel safe in your office. We feel safe, Dr. Deena. And I love it because that means they can tell me things that probably others don't know. I've had students tell me personal things that they haven't told their parents, and I take pride of that. If they can tell me things that parents don't know, that means I've developed that safe environment where they trust me. They know I'm not going to judge them, but I'm going to try to help them as well. The other thing that we forget to do as adults and as educators and parents is model healthy emotional behavior. You're telling your student and your child and the young person to behave better, but you're not doing it. Under stress, under crisis, we need to model stress management techniques. How do we deal with problems? Do we yell? Do we collapse? You're not modeling. They're going to do the same. So we need to start modeling what is it like to behave properly, or kind of control your stress or your emotions in times where you need to. And that's something we all need to work on. So I do that a lot with my students during the pandemic when they were all panicking, especially at the beginning. I'm like, guys, the fact that you can still see me on the screen, we're still together, we're healthy. I'm just giving them coping mechanisms to calm them down. Even with my boys, they were looking at these numbers every day. I'm like, we're okay. We're in the UAE. We have a great healthcare system. We're getting the vaccine. I'm here. I'm aware. I'm a biologist. So these are coping mechanisms. We need to teach emotional regulation skills. And I think the schools have a big role in that, also universities. And I think I give credit to the UAE because I've seen this now very early, even with my kids' school curriculum. Emotional intelligence is being introduced. Meditation. They actually do a lot of meditation in school now. Apparently, in the beginning every day, they do 10-minute deep breathing, reflection, and that's amazing. But we never did that at school. It was all about getting through the curriculum. So now I see, especially after the pandemic, they're teaching emotional regulation to young people. I do that with my own classes. In fact, in my previous university, I've introduced a brand new course called Introduction to Happiness and Positive Psychology. People laughed. It was a course, 3 credits, 4 grades. People said, oh, you're going to teach students how to be happy? How do you teach a human to be happy? I said, I'm not teaching them how to be happy. I'm teaching them how to cope with things that make them unhappy. I'm teaching them how to become positive in their life, that, to see the light at the end of the tunnel, to see the glass half full, not half empty. I can't teach someone to be happy, but I'm teaching them to focus on the positive things in life. We talk about appreciation and gratitude. We talk about giving back. We're talking about feeling lucky for what you have. This is what the course is about. And guess what? It became the most popular open elective in the university. Every single student, and we used to open 5 sections, cap it to 50, and waiting lists. Everybody wanted it. Engineering students, law students, business, health science, English, literature, arts, everybody wanted that course. And it helped them so much. So again, it is our responsibility as adults, as parents, as teachers to teach these skills, which are not naturally happening in a lot of, in the world. Last but not least, we need to start providing access to mental health resources. I think now more than ever, we've realized, a lot of insurances don't cover mental health. And I'm a big advocate of that. Why? Why are we covering physical health? Why is it okay to go and get covered for diabetes and cancer? But if you have depression, anxiety, where you need medication and therapy, you have to pay out of pocket. So now, even insurance companies are working in the UAE to cover mental health. They've started that. So we need to give them access to therapy, counseling, guide them. Even our counselor, I remember she said, thank you, Dr. Deena, in the university, because more students are coming to see me now because you're making them feel safe. A lot of them say, why don't you come with me, doctor, for the first session? And I would go. I would sit and listen, but they want someone with them. And luckily, we've gotten into a culture that, where kids and young people are talking more about their mental health, and they're more open to the idea of getting help and getting counseling. So in a nutshell, Parents and teachers are everything in this equation. No matter what we say, oh, but it's the social media, it's the technology. Yes, it's there, but it's our job to support our kids during these changes and this advancement in the digital world. Um, and then one of the comments that I got as well that I'd like to comment on is some research reports recommend the role of the industry. So we spoke about parents, teachers, young people. But what about the industry for better emotional health in youth? And then I have comments like, for example, if the industry starts developing age-specific internet content, or disciplined use of social media with breaks, or balancing life with some sports, exercise, walks, or outdoor activities. So obviously, yes, I completely agree with that. As a researcher and as a scientist, industry plays a big role. And if I want to comment on each one of these points, starting with the disciplined use of social media breaks, of course. As I've mentioned earlier, excessive social media use has been linked directly to increased level of anxiety, depression, and loneliness in young people. Again, they're comparing their lives to people on social media. They think everybody's living a happy, perfect life, and they're not. Anxiety goes up, depression goes up, and then they become very lonely. A lot of them want to, have suicidal thoughts, or they don't want to leave the room anymore. So, these breaks are needed. And I give credit to the industry and social media platform because they're allowing this, but we need to know how to use them. As parents, we need to start introducing this with apps with our kids. I do that. Breaks, to stop or not allow them to access certain things. I was listening to a blog apparently of a lady, she's an adult, and she was saying that social media was very toxic to her. She decided to incorporate an app where after 30 minutes of social media exposure, it blocks everything on her phone for 3 hours. And apparently it helped her so much. So the tools are there. We need to use them. The industry is telling you the tools are there. They're not going to tell you use it, but you need to use it with kids, with yourself, by encouraging young people to take breaks from social media and setting these guidelines around its use. School plays a big role in this as well. The industry can help, obviously, promote healthy online behaviors and reduce the negative impact of social media on emotional health. School needs to play a role, and I see that in a lot of schools. I see with my boys, they're telling me when they access the internet in their school, nothing is accessible except what they want them to access. They can't go and look at Google and stuff. It's only the academic programs. This is so important. We don't want our kids looking at other things or being distracted while they need to be doing their work. At home, again, we need to supervise, make sure they're accessing the right content, and also discontinuous breaks. I do that, especially when I go out. Suddenly they're cut off. Oh, mommy, what did you do? I said, I didn't do anything. This is probably the app, but it's actually made by me. I mean, I timed it. So that brings me to the next topic, which is developing age-specific internet content. This is a big issue now, the content that the young people are accessing. I mean, they can, remember, this is public. This is accessible to every single person. You can find anything from the youngest age, as you can see from the picture, till you're an adult. But we need to control that. The industry needs to help us have these options. Young people today spend a significant amount of time online, and obviously they have a significant impact on their emotional well-being, as we've said earlier. So creating content that is tailored to their age group, interests, and needs, the industry can provide young people with positive and helpful online experiences that can promote emotional health. And I think, again, there are a lot of restrictions now. We need to use it right. We need to use the right platforms. The UAE recently sent out a survey. They want specific platforms for kids with special needs because, they're very vulnerable. So now they're creating special network for them to join a platform where they can only access things that are suitable for their needs, which is amazing. Again, the tools are there. We just need to know how to use them with young people. The last comment that I was getting about the industry, which I believe it's not really the industry, it's more us as parents and educators and caregivers, is balancing life with sports, exercise, walk, or outdoor activities. The industry can't do much here. It's us. It's, the caregivers and parents. we need to, schools are doing an amazing job now. Especially here in the UAE, I see the emphasis on extracurricular activities that are non-screen oriented, non-technology. So if you see the list, the students can choose from 5 days a week, all kind of sports. So my boys, do everything from soccer to basketball to swimming. And then they also try the other education activities, but also away from the screen. It's amazing. Like chess, for example. My boys play chess. They do arts, they do music. So I see needed, but then there's this emphasis to be on a screen. So schools are playing a big role, but then us, the parents, let your kids be active. Have that time where kids have to be outdoors with other kids, do things, away from the screen, do exercise. We know, as a health scientist myself, physical activity has been shown to have significant benefits for emotional health, including, of course, reducing stress and improving the mood. That's why people were anxious and stressed and had a terrible mood during the pandemic when they couldn't exercise. Is a direct relationship. So by encouraging people to engage in physical activities by providing opportunities, we need to provide the opportunity. No child or young people will tell you, "Oh, I don't want to be on social media. I don't want to play video game. I'd rather go out for a walk." Nobody does that. Nobody. You need to create that. It becomes a habit. So for them to do so, the industry can obviously help promote emotional health among youth by allowing or maybe promoting online such activities or the effect, but it's our job to implement them. 5 days a week, my boys do something after school. Even now, they're on spring break, they're actually in a sports camp. I don't keep them out because I know if they're home at work, they're actually on the screen. So they are just a few hours. I know they're getting their physical activity. They're doing sports, they're swimming. And so these are things we need to start investing in. So in a nutshell, to wrap up, these are my kind of tips and insights into how we can support young people with this difficult time, with the digital advancement, the digital world, and how we can support their emotional health. Again, thank you very much, and I hope I was able to add some value in that topic, and I'll be happy to take any questions afterwards. Thank you.